review for the final quiz. So use synthetic division. Now remember, it says you're just finding the remainder. You're evaluating. That means you stop after synthetic division. Okay. So number in the box, set this equal to 0. Negative 4 goes in the box. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're fine. We don't need any fillers. 3, 12, 4, 17, 6. Drop down to 3, multiply by negative 4. Add, multiply by negative 4. Add, multiply by negative 4. Add, multiply by negative 4. We're done. That's it. Stop right there. You don't have to do anything else. Okay? We're going to set this equal to 0. Remember, this is the same thing as this. Okay? Just a different way of writing it. So my number in the box is negative 5. I have 3, 2, 1, no variable. I'm good to go. So there's my coefficient 3, negative 12, negative 21, and positive 41. Drop down, multiply by, sorry, this is positive 5, my bad. Multiply by 5, that gives me 15. Add, that gives me 3. Multiply by 5, add, multiply by 5. That gives me 11. That's my remainder. I have evaluated. Move on. Okay, set this equal to 0. Negative 3 goes in the box. I have 4, 3, 2, 1, and then no variable, so I'm good to go. 1, negative 3, negative 15, 3, and negative 18. Drop down to 1, multiply by negative 3. Add, multiply by negative 3, get a positive. Add, multiply by negative 3. Add, multiply by negative 3, 0. I get a remainder of 0, which means this is a factor or a root of my polynomial. Okay, remember, this is just another way of writing this. Okay, it's just different format. They all mean the same thing. So if I set this equal to 0, I'm going to get 3 in the box. I have 4, 3, 2, 1, no exponent, no variable. So I'm good to go. 1, negative 3, 8, 13. Drop it down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply by 3, negative 9, add, negative 1, multiply, and then add. I am finished. That's all you have to do. You can stop there. Remember, save yourself time on the test. Use your time where you need it. Okay, this is the same thing as this, okay? We already talked about that. Different format. So this is what I'm going to set equal to 0, which means 6 goes in my box. Okay, I have 3, so there's a coefficient there. I do not have an a squared. It's really 0a squared, so I need a 0 there. I have my 1, but I also do not have a constant, so I do need a constant. So, drop down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Big old leftover, big remainder. So, I started with, I had 3 here, so this is going to be 2x squared. And remember, I had a to the 3, sorry I changed to x, over a to the 1. Well, that's going to give me a squared, which means my answer should start with a squared. And then plus 12a, plus my constant of 89, plus my remainder of 534 over a minus 6. That's my answer. Okay, number 6. Same thing as this. So that means negative 2 goes in the box. I have 3, I have 2, I do not have a 1, so I'm going to 0 there. So 5, 12, 0, negative 8. Drop it down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. I have no remainder. Okay? So I start off with 3, so I'm going to have n squared plus 2n minus 4, and that's it. Okay, number 6. I have a 3, I have a 1 and a constant, but I do not have a squared term. The number in the box is 2, so I have 2, 0, negative 5, negative 7. Drop down to 2, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. I start off with cubic, so my answer is going to be quadratic. 2x squared plus 4x plus 3 plus negative 1 over my original divisor of x minus 2. All right, number 7. 3 goes in the box. Set that equal to 0. I have a 3, I have a 2, I have a 1, I have a constant. I'm good to go. 3, negative 2, 3, negative 4. Drop it down. 3 times 3 is 9. Add, multiply by 3, add, multiply by 3, add. I start off with a cubic, so I'm going to end up with a quadratic. 3x squared plus 7x plus my constant 24 plus the remainder of 68 over x minus 3. Factor. 27 is a perfect cube. Obviously x cubed is, and so is 64. So I'm going to take the cube root of 27, the cube root of x cubed, and the cube root of 64. I'm going to make my little parentheses. I'm going to do my SOAP. Same, opposite, always positive. I'm going to square this, 9x squared. I'm going to multiply these, 12x. I'm going to square that, 16. 10 is another cube, perfect cube, 1 and 1. So, cube root, same, opposite, always positive. Square that, multiply them, square that. That's it. Remember, S-O-A-P. S-O-A-P. Okay, another one. 64 is a perfect cube, so is 27. Cube root of 64, cube root of x cubed, cube root of 27, cube root of z cubed. Same, opposite, always positive. Square that, multiply them. Be careful with this, it's xz. Square that. That's it. Cube root of 8. Cube root of x cubed, cube root of 125, cube root of y cubed. Same, opposite. That's not opposite, is it? Opposite, always positive. Square that. Multiply them. Don't forget both variables. Square that. Okay, you're going to factor this by grouping. 2 by 2. Pull out next 2. You're left with x minus 1. Immediately write x minus 1 over here. Now just ask yourself, what do I have to divide this by to get x minus 1? Positive 5. Hook them up. That's it. Okay, same thing. Factor by grouping. Take on x squared. That leaves me x plus 4. Immediately write x plus 4 right here. What do I divide this by to get that? Again, a 5. Hook them up. That's it. All right. Same thing. Only difference is now we're equal to 0, so we have to go one step further. I'll pull out x squared, get x minus 5. Immediately write x minus 5. Here's where it gets tricky. Notice it's a negative 3. So what do I have to divide that by to get positive x? Negative 3. And you can verify it. 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. X squared, remember, this is equal to 0. Minus 3 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. This is going to be x squared equals positive 3. Square root both sides. Plus or minus root 3. And then this is simply x equals 5. Also remember, when you're solving, this number tells you how many answers you should have. The degree tells you you should have 3 answers. I want 3 answers here also. Factor by grouping. Pull out x squared and get x plus 4. Write x plus 4 here. What do I need to divide this by? 2. X squared plus 2. X plus 4. Remember, equal to 0, all the way down. So x squared plus 2 equals 0. X plus 4 equals 0. I'm going to get a negative 2 here, which is mean when I square root, don't forget, I'm going to get plus and minus I root 2. There's 2 of my 3 answers, and this is going to give me negative 4. Oh, my bad. This didn't say equals 0, so I just did extra work. Sorry about that, but hey, it's good practice. Okay, factor to solve. Now remember, think about this as if it was just x squared minus 5x minus 14. You would just factor it quite easily to negative 7 and positive 2. This is going to factor the exact same way. X, 7, and 2. I want more negatives than positives. I check. Remember, guess and check, not guess and pray. That gives me negative 5. Now, this is the middle term, which means these are both x squared. Just like this was my middle term, and these are both x to the 1. That's the only difference. Now, since it is a solve, I'm going to say x squared equals positive 7, and x squared equals negative 2. I don't know why I said 7 squared. That was weird. Okay, and then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And remember, I need 4 answers here. So x equals plus and minus square root of 7. And x equals plus and minus, I have a negative, so I'm going to have an I root 2. And those are my 4 answers. Okay, on this one, I need to get these both over here. So x cubed, and put it in the right order, plus 2x squared, minus 4x, minus 8. Factor by grouping. I'm going to take out an x squared and get x plus 2. Write the x plus 2 here. This will help with the sign errors. I need to divide this by negative 4 to get that. Hook them up. X squared, and this is going to be equal 0 all the way down. This time I am right. Minus 4 equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. Remember, I'm going to get 3 answers. X squared equals 4. X equals negative 2. Square root both sides. Always a plus or minus when you're solving square root problems. Well, looky there. Problem just disappeared. This was x to the 4th minus 16 equals 0. All right, no big deal. In fact, this is the perfect square, and so is this. So I'm going to get x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 4. Remember, my clue is 4 answers. Now to set them equal to 0. X squared equals 4. X squared equals negative 4. Square root all over the place. There's my 4 answers. Because I want to get plus or minus 2. Now I'm going to get plus or minus I root 2.
Okay, real quickly, that was obviously a silly mistake. There's no way that this should be I root 2. The 2 should come out, so it's plus or minus 2i.
Okay, 21 was x to the fourth minus 64 equals 0. Similar problem. Both perfect squares. X squared minus 8, x squared plus 8. That's an 8. So I get x squared equals positive 8 and x squared equals negative 8. Remember, this is going to break down to 4 and 2. So it's going to be x equals plus or minus, this 4 is going to come out as a 2, root 2. Same thing over here, except since it's negative, I'm going to have plus or minus 2i root 2. And last, but certainly not least, there we go. I have to get that go there. Sorry about that. Okay, show that it's a factor. Then find the solution. So if it just said this, you'd stop with the remainder or 0. But then it says factor completely to find the solutions. Now, the cool thing about this is you already know one of the solutions. Right off the bat, do this. Because I'll tell you right now, as I told you in class, that is forgotten all the time. Remember, you're wanting 3 solutions. So when you get down and finish this and only have 2, that's your reminder. So take out the x squared, you get x minus 5. Write x minus 5 here. This will help with the signs. What do I have to divide this by to get positive x? Negative 9. So, hook them up. X squared minus 9 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. I kind of skipped that step just to save time and space. This is x plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. So I end up with I just realized I factored that by grouping instead of doing what I was supposed to. Whoops. Well, this actually does show it because there it is. It is a factor. So there's my answer. X equals plus and minus 3. So I did it the wrong way, but still got the right answer. So I'm going to go back. So get ready. I'm going to erase this. Sorry about that. This is a synthetic division problem, but you can see it did work by factor by grouping. So my number in the box is 5. I have everything I need, so 1, negative 5, negative 9, 45. Think of it as an extra practice problem. Drop the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. That gives me 0. There's my remainder. It shows me this is a factor. So here's what I was talking about. When I do this, I get x squared minus 9 equals 0. Here's my x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. This is where people make the mistake and say, my answer is negative 3 and positive 3, and forget this. So just remember from the start, go ahead and do this. Or pay attention that you need 3 answers. So when you only get these 2, go back and write down the third one. It's a horrible way to lose points. Even if they're small points, they add up. So x minus 3 equals 0. There's one of my answers right now. Now, this is not in the right order. Should be x cubed minus 3x squared plus 8x minus 24 equals 0. 3 goes in the box. 1, negative 3, 8, negative 24. Drop down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. It is a factor. So I get x squared plus 8, because there is no x term, equals 0. X squared equals negative 8. Square root both sides. Again, we already did this, but it's going to break down to 4 and 2. So my answer is x equals plus or minus, there's my 2 answers, 2i root 2. And there's my 3 answers right there. And that's it.